This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Minneapolis, it's time to put on your baggy sweatshirt and get ready to laugh. Comedy icon Adam Sandler is bringing his You're My Best Friend tour to the Grand Casino Arena on October 22nd. Don't miss out on the brand new jokes, classic bits, and maybe even a song or two. Tickets are on sale now. Get the full details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pastime comedies tend to be. The legendary one Mark Rosen joins us here in the studio. Good afternoon to you, too. What was I going to ask you? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. No, I forgot. There was something I wanted to start with, and now
it's a sad tale.
It's a sad tale. That happens to me all the time.
It's with names. No, I don't know how you are, but we all get stumped. We're trying to remember the names of quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks and who's playing. It's impossible. I mean, unless you're maybe a 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid who does that, like I did when I was that age. There are kids who know fantasy. Everything. People who are younger, even they pay attention all the time to lineups. And your boys play fantasy football.
Deuce does, and I think maybe Brother Peter does as well. Yeah.
But that's how you get to know and never forget names because you're locked in. Well, my fantasy team, I think Lamar Jackson's out. He's my quarterback, and I've had a great start. I haven't played in 30 years, but I think I may have to go get a quarterback this week. So I doubt if he'll be playing. But anyway.
I'm not I gave up fantasy football years ago.
Well, I did peer pressure with my podcast group, but it's been fun.
How's the podcast going? You had meat sauce on. I heard it was fascinating.
It was fascinating.
What did he talk about? Did he just say,
I asked
lucky?
Him about, no. I did a deep dive. I was a penetrating interview. I asked him some questions. We talked about the origin of how he got his name, of course, meat sauce, and the superstar was involved with a lot of that, and his background and kind of the success of the power trip. And then, we certainly talked Vikings, we talked some other sports stuff, but then at the end it was, because I knew how close he was with Dark Star and how, I know how close you were with him, and we all had our experiences with Dark. And we were both recanting stories about Dark and Dark's influence on Sauce, number one, and why he's thought so highly of him. But then it got to be the Sid and Dark stories, and how Sid and Dark used to scream at each other in press boxes, in everywhere. And Sauce had a story I hadn't heard before, and after Dark passed unexpectedly, and they had. I think one of two kind of funerals or whatever it might be. He was cremated and he was in an urn, and Sid showed up. I can't use the language that Sid used, of course, and Sauce did on the podcast. But basically, that SOB still owes me money. He starts yelling at the urn, basically. You SOB, you still owe me money, and that whole thing. And so that went down. And everyone's trying to quiet him down, saying, Sid, this is a sign, this is respectful time right now. Dark has passed. You can't yell at a dead person.
You're not getting your money.
You're not getting your money back. And then it went on and on. I had some stories with Dark and Sid. And anyway, we talked a lot about that, and we were cracking up. So that was a fun part. I mean, because I knew that beyond anything else, the Dark meant a lot to him. So, we talked about that, about fatherhood, what it's like, imagining Sauce, what happened, how his career was basically spiraling out of control. And,
it still is, I think. I don't
know. I think I asked him a little bit about the comedy thing, and it was fun. It was, trying to pick and choose who I can get on there. So
here's a, I don't want to say scraping the bottom of the barrel, but it kind of sounds like it to me. Here's a text message that says, just think Rosen's better at fantasy football at 76 than he was at 46.
I'm 73. Well, that's about the last time I played. I played my son, who's now about to turn 40. We signed up one time, and I've never played fantasy football, and I understand the fascination, and I'm kind of into it now because after the Viking game ended at noon, all of a sudden I'm following my team and how it's going, and they give you the percentages, and the computer does all the work for you, basically. But I hadn't played it forever, and it's just kind of for, a couple bucks here and there. It's not really it's more for personal pride than anything else. But no big deal. I really haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Okay, I'm going to play along with this. See, sometimes I think people use the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line to troll me or you. And I think they're trying to troll. Well, they could be serious, but they're just trying to troll me. But I'll play along with it because it's juicy. Okay. It says comment. Because I had Chip Scoggins and we were talking Vikings and talking about J.J. McCarthy. He goes, do you have any idea how silly you sound when you're trying to get other people to agree with your dislike for J.J. McCarthy? Continue to ask questions like, what if Wentz had played better? And then asking if 2 games has shown enough that they should move on from him. It's actually gotten kind of sad. That wasn't the line of question in any way, shape, or form. Again, I don't know if he's trolling me or probably if he wasn't listening. Because, for instance, I don't dislike J.J. McCarthy. We moved up to draft him 10th overall. Mm-hmm. He's been simply awful in his first 2 games. Awful. Simply awful. He had 1 good quarter. He's been awful. So I think it's fair questions to say Jackson Dart was brilliant in his first game. He was brilliant. Our guy hasn't been. Then he says, continue to ask questions like, what if Wentz had played better? Well, that is a legitimate question. And Chip did say, well, you're right. That's a different story. Had Wentz been, because Chip's take was, it's the season, like you said, you've got to see what you got in this quarterback.
Of course.
But then I was doing the devil's advocate saying, but what if Wentz had been brilliant and won that first game that he started, and he's brilliant this week, and you go into the bye and McCarthy's ready, but now you're 4-1, or they'd be 4-1 on, let's say they'd be 4. No,
they're 2-2 now.
Yeah, let's say they would have won. They would have won that game. They won the game. They'd have been 3-1. Let's say they win this week. They're 4-1. Do you all of a sudden say, Carson, you were brilliant, but guess what? We're gonna keep going with the kid. It's not a dislike him. It's a legitimate question of, do you continue to play with the hot hand, or because if you go, let's say you go back to McCarthy, and let's say against Philadelphia, he's simply awful again and overwhelmed by their defense, and now you fall to 4-2, and you go, well, what was that all about? So it's a legitimate question. Plus, he says, then asking if 2 games showing up that you should move on from him. That was never the question about moving on from him. My question was, does it give you any cause for concern that 7 of the 8 quarters weren't any good? The question wasn't, do you think after 2 bad games we should move on from him? So again, and my assumption is, he's trolling me, which is great, but it gives me a chance to kill a segment. Well, but also I'll say, I'm assuming this text messenger's and he's a Viking fan and he's in love with JJ, and he wants so badly JJ to be the savior that we've never had since Tarkenton. And I'm just not ready to declare that he is.
Well, I think under the best of circumstances, and I had said all along that I thought these games in particular, starting last week and this week, were extremely important for J.J. McCarthy to be in there, given the fact he missed all of last year. And as we've seen with young quarterbacks now, maybe their second year, I'm not, Jaden Daniels was the outlier. I mean, he had an exceptional rookie season last year. But for the most part, Caleb Williams, go down the line, these guys are going to have their struggles. And that's just the nature of the, going back to Elway and Peyton Manning and Brett. I mean, most of these guys, even Hall of Fame type quarterbacks, are going to take some time to develop. And the last thing the Vikings are going to want to do is come out and go, you know what, this is kind of I hate to use the word rebuilding year, but we have to kind of, because they invested heavily in their offensive and defensive lines, as we all know. And I think they all thought that J.J. McCarthy would come along and maybe have his struggles, but that doesn't mean the team wouldn't win. But now we're at the tipping point where he's not going to play this week. You got the bye week. He'll probably be healthy enough to come back and play Philadelphia. And unless, I don't know, if Wentz throws 5 touchdown passes this week, I don't see them not going back to JJ. That doesn't mean it's, and the likelihood that he's going to have a lot of success coming out of the blocks, and hopefully they'll be healthier against the Eagles at LA, the Chargers on a Thursday night, than at the Kitties against the Lions. Whoa, that's some heavy lifting to do. And I don't think J.J. McCarthy's going to turn into, a Jalen Hurts. I'm talking about from a success standpoint. That doesn't mean you can't, I'm not suggesting even that Carson Wentz would fare any better. I think the problem the Vikings have put themselves into in a box right now is that they know they got to get J.J. McCarthy out there to get the reps. There's no other way he's going to get better.
Right.
He's going to take his lumps, but I don't know. I just think it's going to be up. They're going to get him back in there. And it's, Eagles are a great team. I don't think Jalen Hurts. Is this true? He didn't throw for 1 yard passing last week in the second half.
I believe that was.
I think that's the case. That doesn't mean. I mean, we know what Jalen Hurts is capable of. And he's strong as a bull, and he's got Saquon Barkley, and he's got a great offensive line, and he's got a great defense, and they're Super Bowl champs. They probably will get back again this year. So, but at some point, you got to get the kid out there.
Let's do this. Let's take a break. Come back. Got plenty more to get to. Tenna B's gone. Do we have a? We have a national cash contest keyword, Tenna?
Yes, we do. The Fan and 2 men in a junk truck. Want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com. Hey, Rubes, this football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest, to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Couple 13-14 pastime comedies. Tenna B. Mark Rosen here. Timberwolves first training camp practice yesterday. Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Mm-hmm. Chris Hine did a story, and it says that the team had dinner Monday night. Mike Conley, point guard, said that one of the topics of discussion was goals for the team this year. And according to Conley, they said, are we coming here to put on a show, perform, or are we trying to win a championship? What are we doing? The consensus is we're trying to win a championship. And after getting to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, it's the old Bum Phillips.
Right.
Last year we got to the door. This year we knocked on it. Now we want to kick it in. But what I found interesting here is they still don't feel their defense is up to snuff, despite the fact that they've kind of hung their hat on that. Story says 2 seasons ago, the Wolves had the number 1 defense in the NBA. Last season, their defense was good, 6th in efficiency, a statistic that would be great for a lot of teams. But for the Wolves, it wasn't good enough. Their defense fluctuated too much for their liking throughout the season, and that habit continued in the playoffs, and it gives an example. Then what it says, Rudy Gobert says, it's about holding each other accountable. There's always moments when you might not do it as much, and that's when your teammates have got to be there to talk to you and remind you who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. And God bless them. I hope they do this, because this was what I was ranting about, to the chagrin of many and the annoyance of others, that would you just give it up, Common? But I see too many times, not just the Wolves, but in the NBA, teams seem to go into coast mode, particularly when it's defense. We got 82 games. Yeah. I make a lot of money. I don't know what the reasons are, but you'll see teams just coast sometimes, especially defensively. And I'm like, are you trying to win a championship, or are you just trying to put on a show? And I guess it's human nature. It's impossible to play 48 minutes like it's the game 7 of the NBA Finals. But there's too much inconsistency there, and I think they realize that now.
I think they all realize that, but I don't know what the secret sauce is to find the elixir to play that hard, as you mentioned, when you got 82. I mean, everyone knows, and we saw it again last year. And because the Wolves have been in a position to actually play extended playoff games, it's day and night when you watch a regular season game here at the end of October. And I'm usually in the fourth quarter they say bring it to the ticket, and then they clamp down whatever they've done. They're up by 4, they're down by 4, whatever it might be. You see them they play with a lot more intensity. It is against, I don't disagree with your premise. There's no excuse for it. If you want to be a championship team, you got to play like champions, try it every night. It's not going to happen all the time. You're not going to get the success, but you have to have a barometer, and that comes from the leadership of the basketball team and guys that are said, listen, one thing we're going to do, we're not going to make our 3-point shots all the time. You can't make that happen. We're going to miss free throws. We're going to do this. But one thing we can do is play defense at a high level. That doesn't take luck. That just takes effort. And that's, I think it's 100%. What Conley said, or whatever the case may be, if this team wants to move the needle even more, and you do that in the regular season, obviously you want to set the table and set the bar for the kind of team that, no one wants to play next spring. Because they look at the Wolves defense, and that including Ant. I mean,
well, and that's what I want to bring up, because here's what it says in here. And again, I got torched for saying these things because there are certain players on each team that you're never supposed to say anything bad about. You can't say anything negative about Ant or Jet or back in the day, I don't know who would be a Buxton and Kirill. You just can't. You got to.
Sacred cows.
When you're talking about them, you're supposed to say their name in hushed tones. But here's what it says. Then there's guard Anthony Edwards, who has shown he can defend at a high level when he's engaged on that end of the floor. Conley said the team told Edwards they need more from him on defense this season. Edwards has always had to conserve his energy throughout the course of a game since the Wolves ask so much of him offensively, but that can't be an excuse this season. Here's what Conley said. We said, Ant, if you want to win a championship, we expect you to guard like you're a top 5 perimeter defender in the league, which we believe you are. Jaden, myself, whoever's on the court, we have a job to do, and then we got to be consistent every single day. And Ant's at the front of that, and especially on the defensive end. With him competing the way he can compete, we're a completely different team. He knows it, and it's going to require a lot more. It's going to get him uncomfortable a little bit more tired, a little bit more in shape. He has to be. So, again, you weren't supposed to be critical of Ant because he's such a special, sweet kid. All I know is they need to get more. That's how those teams win championships. Right. They push themselves and go that extra yard and don't take as many plays off or games off.
I think it would be more impressive if Ant was a NBA made the all defensive team than winning a scoring title. If he got recognized for his defense, more than, he's already, he had an interesting news conference day before or whatever. He talked about, running up the score, running up his individual stats against the lesser teams. And that, listen, there's a lot more that went into Ant's news conference than just filling his box score. And he talked about learning stuff from Michael Jordan. He talked about bonding with his teammates this summer and how it, if Naz Reid's having a camp, let me know. I want to be there for you. All that kind of stuff that you don't really associate a lot of times with pros who got their own agenda and have their own thing going on, as opposed to maybe the kind of like college kind of rah-rah type of thing. But yeah, I do think, Conley makes a really good point. And I'm sure has improved his game. Talking about his mid-range jumper, whatever it might be, back to the basket, saying Jordan taught him, don't use your butt basically to push against the players. Use your back. You can almost close your eyes and see MJ doing that thing where he got the ball low in the paint and he take his back and push up against an opponent, then hit that fadeaway jumper. So, little things like that. But I really do think it's important. I think Ant's have to play defense at a higher level and not just kind of take off nights from that area of his game.
Here's a text message again. Somebody's got to be trolling me. He actually says, you're basically asking why marathoners don't sprint the entire race.
What?
Basketball, playing defense, 48. A marathoner starts running, he's got to go 26 miles, and he can't stop. You stop, you lose. You don't all of a sudden look at the bench and have somebody come in for you. Being a marathon runner, sorry, it's a bit more challenging than playing.
Well, you're not playing 48 minutes either. So.
Right, well, exactly. You can play hard. It's again, here's somebody that's making excuses for Ant for not giving it his all for 48 minutes. If that's what you want to do, go ahead, make excuses.
It's more about what, and again, it comes down to the fourth quarter. Even in regular season games, you see it all the time. It's just human nature, whatever it might be. And that's where you want to see Ant in particular clamp down. I don't care if it's a game against Charlotte Hornets in the middle of December. You don't want to let those games. And we've seen the Wolves give too many of those games away, where they have a 16-point lead, and all of a sudden it evaporates. They're on the road at a bad basketball team, and next thing you know, they lose by 3, and they're all looking around going, we got to do better. We have to.
Well, and that's what somebody just said. It says Timberwolves steal some early games. They're just as valuable as the ones in May and June. And they're right. We've seen too many times where they'll lose a game to an extremely inferior opponent. And it's like, well, we came out flat or whatever we did. We didn't, we didn't. The one that got me, and I heard this quote 13, 14 times from players last year on the Wolves. The other team tried harder than we did. Yeah. They what?
Yeah,
effort is something you can control. Sometimes you just get beat by a better team. You can just say they outplayed us. They were better than us.
I think in this time, and I know Chip talked about it a little bit as well. You're in an uber competitive Western Conference, even getting better and better. So if you have a target on your back like OKC does, and saying that's the standard bearer, they won the championship last year. But then you got the Denver Nuggets, and you got the Dallas Mavericks who've improved, and every night you play a Western Conference team in particular, you better bring it because it's not about playing. And it's all the more reason why when you do have those opportunities to close out the inferior teams, you better not let those games slip away like the Wolves have been guilty of too many times. And I think Chris Finch understands that, but they got to get the message across. And it comes from the leadership on the team. And right, Conley's right. And however the lineup is used this year, you got to figure out a way to close out those games and not give those away. You're not going to run roughshod over the Western Conference. You got to play good basketball, winning basketball as much as you can, but you're not going to go undefeated against those teams. It's just not going to happen. Obviously, you're going to lose your share, but better not lose those other ones if you want to be considered, serious contenders this year.
And let's see if they are. We'll find out soon. Let's take our final break of the program. Got a couple of other items I want to get to with the legendary Mark Rosen. It's Common, Rosie, and Tennessee right here on the Fan.
Aquarius Home Services has your shot at 4 tickets to see Green Bay take on the Purple in early January, plus $500 in game day cash. Register for your chance to win today on the KFAN contest page. That's KFAN.com/furnace to enter today.
What giveaway? Did you give
I gave you a giveaway sheet today,
When did
yes.
you give me that? I don't remember getting it.
Well, you were in the studio, but I put it right in front of your...
I don't think you did.
I did.
I don't think you did.
This is too good.
College hockey fans, get ready. We got your tickets to see the University of St. Thomas face off against North Dakota on October 12th. It's your chance to experience the action live from Grand Casino Arena. Caller 11 right now is going to win. So call now, 800-320-5326.
Get ready, college hockey fans. You've got your tickets to see the University of St. Thomas face off against North Dakota on October 12th. Your chance to experience the action live from Grand Casino Arena. Be the, did you say 11th caller?
Yeah.
Let's go with that 11th caller right now at 1-800-320-5326.
Is there an echo in here?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
From all of us here.
Sounds very familiar.
You're excited about these Major League Baseball playoffs, aren't you? You're watching it with rapt attention.
I haven't watched much of it, but the one thing other than I didn't see any of it because I was hosting the. Did I tell you I was hosting the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies last night?
For what? What Hall of Fame?
That would be the Pavic Museum.
Oh, right, the one that I'm not
sold
included
out crowd,
in.
and the likes of Lou Nanny and Terry Train and my dear friend Carolyn Lowe were inducted among others. I don't want to slight anybody else, but a lot of small market radio, television. Congratulations to all of them. But that's where I was. So I didn't. The only big blowout was a high scoring game was the Dodgers last night. I didn't see a second of the game.
Ohtani led off the game with a home run, and then that was it. The game was
other
over.
than that. Every game has been pitching. We've got another one today with Detroit and Cleveland, 1-1 in the 7th. Detroit, can clinch this series.
You like this Tigers club, don't you?
Well, I don't know if I like them. I don't have any particular passion for them or the Guardians. But the point of the matter is we're seeing, again, the value of what pitching staff does for you. And so in the Yankees lost, right, last night? Red Sox beat them. And I don't think they had much luck hitting the baseball at Yankee Stadium. So, I'm sure I will get more into it as time goes on. I raised my hand. I said, I fully admit what happened with the Twins and the way they handled their business this year has soured me in general in baseball. But I'm a baseball fan at heart. Are you
soured on the grand old game, the national pastime?
Well, I mean, I will find myself watching. Shocking when I get done here, I'm going to go grocery shopping, and then I'll go home.
That's your second home from your home.
And then I'll go home and watch. I know that San Diego's leading the Cubs 1-0.
I'm sort of kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch early and not later because I like best 2 out of 3. There's more urgency to it. Once they get to these
4 to 7,
4 to 7s after a while, I just like it's too much. So, and I like the matchup between Detroit and Cleveland. I like the teams from our division. I like both of these clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. I don't care who wins, but
it's 1-1 right now, bottom of the 7th, and I like what we're seeing here.
I usually find myself rooting, no matter what team is losing. I end up, I hope they come back and do something. I find myself in human nature.
And then I watched quite a bit of Boston, New York last night, and that game was highly entertaining. Again, a low scoring affair. Right. The Red Sox had a 3-1 lead going to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Yankees loaded the bases with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh.
And then didn't Chapman used to pitch for New York?
Yes.
I
heard about this.
He's closing the game out for the Red Sox. He pitched for a lot of teams. And he got the next three hitters out. They did not score a run. And so it looked like the Yankees were going to steal it. 3-1, bases loaded, nobody out, and Chapman was brilliant. And so
the silence you hear is Yankee Stadium.
The Red Sox win that game, and so that was a lot of fun. And again, when it's best 2 out of 3, it's
compelling stuff.
When you're 4-7, you lose the first game. I mean, it's better to win than lose, of course, but you feel
doesn't matter as much.
No, it doesn't. So I'll watch early, but we've seen some good baseball. I don't know when we're going to see it from your club. Have you heard about? Do your inside sources tell you anything about who there might be a managerial candidate?
No, I honestly kept thinking we'd be hearing about the limited partners before that. No, I mean, I think.
Do you have any idea who those people might be?
I do not. I've tried hard, and yet I've got a brick wall. I don't know. And but the idea was supposed to be they're going to announce it, and I think from a PR standpoint, anything the Twins can do to at least give some positivity to spin it that way, announcing limited partners who, in theory, might be able to put some fresh cash into the team would be welcome news. The manager, no, I assume it's going to take some time. I think all the inside baseball guys are speculating with a number of names. The one that kind of surprised me yesterday, I was just leaving to go do the event last night, and I was listening to Barrero. Maybe it was Lavelle that was talking about. He mentioned Torrey Hunter's name, and I went, "Wait, what?" Torrey Hunter would be. I mean, I think he's been in the Angels working behind the scenes a little bit. Would he seriously want to walk into this mess? And because you hear, it's Hunter's name. You've heard Justin Morneau, who's got, he's got like 5 kids. I don't think Justin Morneau wants to, I'm not speaking for him. I'm just saying it would seem like I would be a lot with his lifestyle right now. Torrey, interesting name. Never, really had any obviously managerial experience, but neither did, Paul Molitor. But otherwise, there's a bunch of names that are out there that have been around baseball that have been either with the team or on the outside or with other clubs. But no matter who they name, I don't think anyone's going to go, "Oh, wow, we got him." And they're going to walk into Joe Polad's office with Derek Falvey and go, "Hey, I'm here. What do you got for me?" No, there's your roster. Go get him, Tiger. And that's going to be about it. I don't think anyone's going to be. If Torrey Hunter was named manager, yes. I mean, people would be excited in the context. It's Torrey Hunter, and he's one of the most popular players, in the Kirby Puckett kind of tradition of center fielders who made a name for themselves both on and off the field. It would bring a level of excitement. I'm not sure people would be rushing to the box office. Again, that has to go hand in hand with an idea that you're going to make the team better, and that's probably not likely going to happen.
I just love the basketball community in their never-ending effort to protect their precious little Minnesota Timberwolves. They attack me. Colin, please get away from this effort narrative you have on the NBA this year. Look at the salaries of these players. If you think they can get away with not putting in effort and not getting replaced by younger players who would play harder, you're mistaken. Your sport, every sport has ebbs and flows in a long season. Look at checking stats and playoffs compared to regular season in the NHL, but you never question the effort like you do with the NBA. It's simply not true. If you watch the games, they're giving it their all. I responded to him, well, the Wolves players just said they have to start playing harder every game.
They're the ones who said it.
They said it. So why don't you send the text to them and see what their response is? I know it's hard to understand the esoteric approach. I see things differently than other people, and it's like in the hockey narrative, hockey and basketball are completely different sports, and it just in basketball you have to be a two-way player if you want to be considered a great player. Well, until you're a two-way player, you're not.
The reason OKC set the bar so high last year, I don't have the fingertips what their regular season record was. They played 82 games last year. I think they did pretty well. And the biggest difference between what OKC did last year, maybe the Timberwolves. I don't think they lost too many of those also-rans, especially, at home or away. It doesn't seem to matter. And now this year they're going to have the proverbial bullseye on their back. Every game for those other teams is going to feel like an NBA championship game. We got to beat the champs. But the Wolves are in that the situation. If you want to go out and, we've seen it time and time again, and I'm not suggesting that that's going to dictate how they're going to play in the playoffs next spring, but I think they said it themselves. It's not a question. It's just they're the ones who are saying we've got to be better. They blew how many leads against mediocre teams the last couple of years in regular season games, and that's what we're talking about. The best teams don't do that often. Everyone has those nights, but they got to have fewer of them. That's it.
That's it.
Rocket science.
Yeah, so the team themselves realize that. I'm ahead of the curve on that.
There you are.
Well, I was. I've been expecting the Wolves to do that forever, and they won't.
You're like the Joker in Dark Knight.
As a matter of fact,
he was ahead of the curve.
That's exactly right. Had they played defense game in, game out, they might not have been the 6th seed. They might have been the number 2 seed, and they might have had a better chance, and they may have won a ship. Maybe they've learned their lesson. They're calling out everybody's favorite player. Ant Conley said, we talked to him. We went to him and said, you need to play defense all the time, not just. It's like, you're
not just making it up.
Yeah, it's the Browns will be starting a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
Dillon Gabriel, Gabby, I call him. So, what do you know about him?
Played well at Oregon. He was. It's one of those situations where you would think on paper, oh my God, he has to face Beeflo's defense and. Good luck, because Beeflo normally have pretty good luck against, or it's not luck. I mean, fortune against rookie quarterbacks. They had Stefanski had his run with Joe Flacco. We know that he's always going to be there. He's reliable and he's da-da-da-da-da. But, Shedeur Sanders is on that team and he's not playing. It's Dillon Gabriel. And, he had success at Oregon. It's a whole different levels of competition right now. He's got a lot of talent. But I don't know anything more than that because obviously at the pro level, we've never seen him play. It's just the Vikings have to make life uncomfortable for him. I don't think they have a great running game, but he's not going to do what Aaron Rodgers was able to do early on in the game last week. And, hitting that pass he threw to DK Metcalf, I don't think. But, the Vikings are missing some key components, not just on offense, but on defense. Again, no Van Ginkel, no Cashman. Who else are we missing? Anyone else?
Next man up, we call it.
Well, we call it that, but it can't use that as an excuse. They've got to play a lot.
Detroit lost 18 players on defense last year, and they went 15-2.
I know it.
They didn't. They found a way to win games. You got to find a way to win games.
Well, especially against Cleveland, you cannot lose this football game, especially against the rookie quarterback. Sorry, you just can't. And I think that starts with. If I'm Cleveland, I'm Stefanski looking at the tape of last week and looking at the game they played here. Against who'd they lose to here? The first game of Atlanta. Run at them. I mean, Pittsburgh had an average running back gaping runs last weekend. So, they're a copycat league. So, but they should get after him. I'd like to see them produce a few turnovers early on, make life a lot easier for Carson Wentz and company, and let them get going. Get a quick lead for once. I said that over and over again. This team plays so much better than most teams do. You get an early lead, and it's just they got the offense right. I know the offensive line's a hot mess, but you got to figure out. You got all week to figure that out. All right, these are pros. You get paid to not to play. You get paid to win, and they can't afford to lose this game. Otherwise, it's going to be a 7-win season.
Warren, you're on the fan. Thanks for calling.
Uh-oh.
Well, you guys, everybody's been talking about Van Ginkel, but I can tell you the exact play. I thought he was going to break his neck, and I don't know if anybody remembers when they were playing Atlanta. Mm-hmm. He was trying to make a play. He got his legs cut out from under him. He landed square on top of his head. I thought his neck was going to get broke.
It's concerning.
And I said to myself, that could be a season for him.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with the Vikings offensive line. And you thought I was crazy before when I said Bradbury getting rid of him was a big mistake. And the reason I say this, I wouldn't say it at center. He had a good year last year.
Okay, no, can I cut you off just for a second? We know we're not. Yeah. Bradbury's not here, so what we don't need to talk about it again. Bradbury is gone. He's not coming back. So what do you propose they do? Let's not talk about what would have happened if they kept Bradbury.
This is what I propose that they do.
Okay,
I would talk Brandon Sheriff coming out of retirement because he was waiting for a contract. That's one. Now, these guys were on the Vikings before that would really update this roster at the offensive line.
Oli Udoh?
They had a 6th-round. Well, he's better than what they got, but I'm not proposing that because he's on a team now, too.
Okay.
You'd have to make 2 trades. You make one to the Patriots for Vidarian Lowe. Big tackle who started for them, plays well, and he could really update this line right now because he was their best offensive lineman. He's behind a bunch of rookies. But the guy I'd really go after is Kyle Hinton. You guys probably don't even remember him.
No.
But
Well,
he's a guy.
I remember Hinton.
I remember him very, very well.
The reason I say this guy would be special is because nobody in the draft had that much physical ability. Just kind of like when Randall McDaniel was here, he had so much. See, the reason I say if you had a guy like that, you could put him in the backfield for protecting the quarterback. You could put it. Phillips said when he was here, said that was the toughest offensive lineman they won against. He ever won against.
All right.
And then you could put him at a tight end position because the Vikings have no big guys that help. I think that I don't think this
Josh
regime
Oliver's
wants
a
to
big
put
guy.
big. Yeah, but he's not that type of guy that's going to go out there. He's not an off. Okay, if you got here, I'll give you a new thing that you might learn today.
Wow.
Anybody ever heard it? Have anybody ever heard of the 74 offense?
Oh, sure.
Okay, 74 offense is if you have. That's why I was bringing Bradbury up. If you had, let's say you had regular offensive line, five offensive linemen. But if you had a guy you could put out at tight end that could catch the football, and you could also bring in, you could run the football, whatever. You got another guy like that in at the same time.
Yeah.
And they could make plays.
Right.
You could have seven offensive linemen in.
Isn't that illegal to have
At
the 7
one time.
offensive line? And here's
Do you think the NFL's never thought about this? Maybe these guys don't exist.
Warren, let me ask you a
They
question.
don't exist. What?
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard
What?
do you know what 460 air is? That's all 4 windows of your car down driving 60 miles an hour.
I know what that is.
All right, well, we
no,
got to
what
go.
I'm saying is,
Yeah, we got to go.
The Vikings did sign an offensive lineman from Cold Spring, and someone suggested to me, I don't know how he got that big considering there aren't any grocery stores near Cold Spring.
Oh, wrong one. Oh,
They did.
Yeah, I tried to.
He's from Cold Spring.
Yeah, he is. My sources just texted me not long ago. They know the limited partners of the Twins.
Oh, do they?
Dollar Store and Cheapo Records. Those are
Well,
their limited
there's
partners.
that.
There's
Okay.
that.
That's rather limited. Limited.
What? Maybe we could get Matt Khalil back.
Well,
Could we coax Sullivan out of retirement?
Man, oh,
How about
man.
Hutchinson?
Kleinsasser.
I said, get these guys out of retirement.
best laid plans, man. I'm telling you, it's just, and it's not only the Vikings. There's and I had this conversation with someone. I don't recall even, you don't have to go back to the Purple People Eaters era, but I mean, the number of injuries we're seeing around the league, and there's probably a dozen reasons for things that are happening, but there seem to be, just an epidemic every single game. And that's why the narrative changes so fast. Even a team like, you mentioned how many injuries the Lions had last year. But if you're starting quarterback,
Every team's fortunes are hanging in the balance.
Every week.
If Josh Allen gets a season-ending injury, Buffalo's done.
Mahomes?
Sorry.
Any of them. Any of the top ones. Jalen Hurts, who's the backup in Philly? Jalen Hurts, I don't think can be hurt. He's just a monster.
Sam Howell.
He's
the backup in Philly.
Is he really?
That's who we traded him to.
That's right. Oh my God. Well, here we go. So
any starting quarterback that's a top line starting quarterback gets hurt.
Well, I think the Packers are they have Malik Willis. I mean, they have someone at least who's played at a decent level. I don't know, he's not Jordan Love, and I don't know who the Bears back. Oh, where's Keenum right now? I can't remember. Where's Keenum?
He's not any good either. Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. No, you're not going to win a championship with the Bears.
Is it like that Tyson Bagent?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Tyson, he was a hot commodity.
Let's go back to what we were saying. It doesn't matter who your backup quarterback is. In 9 out of 10 cases, you're not going to. The backup's not going to be able to do much for you.
No. That's very true.
And once in a while, it happens. It has happened. I mean, for instance, Nick Foles jumped in for Wentz late in the season, and he led him to a big game. It can't happen, but. It just doesn't happen very
days
often.
of when the 49ers had Joe Montana as a starting quarterback and Steve Young as his backup. And I remember the Vikings won that game. I was at that game in 1987 when the Vikings
shocked. You were at that game?
Yeah, when they shocked the 49ers and Walsh benched Montana and they brought in Steve Young and the Vikings beat him. Then they went on to lose to Washington in an infamous game for the NFC Championship. I don't need to talk about that any further. But yeah, those days are when you have two Hall of Fame quarterbacks on the same roster.
Jets had Joe Namath and Babe Pirelli.
Babe Pirelli.
You downplayed Dave. Babe
Earl
Pirelli.
Morrill.
Why? I don't know why you want to.
Babe Pirelli.
Why you want to?
And there's some great quarterbacks back in the day.
Earl Morrill was right. He came in for Johnny Unitas and led him to the big game.
But
they lost to the Jets. As a matter of fact, Morrill didn't play very well, so they did bring Johnny Unitas in, who was basically at the very twilight of his career, and he came in, and he did lead Baltimore to their only touchdown in that game.
I topped Johnny U.
Did you know that, what major sporting event happened 50 years ago on this day? Do you know?
What is today's?
October 1st.
50 years ago. I got to do the meat sauce math.
That'd be 1975.
It was Carlton Fisk.
The Thriller in Manila.
Oh, the Thriller. I thought maybe it was baseball related.
Muhammad Ali.
No
versus,
kidding.
Joe Frazier. Frazier.
Yeah, that was probably, was that a closed circuit thing, or was that on regular? I don't.
Well, that would not have been a regular TV.
No, they didn't. But because some of all these fights were on, but that was closed circuit. They used to show, those fights like at Met Center, Orpheum Theater downtown. You'd pay whatever they paid, probably $10 or something to get in, but they would have the fights on a movie screen.
Yep.
Think about it.
And
man, that was 50 years ago.
Yeah, and that was Joe. He finished the fight on a stool 50. He didn't come out for the 15th round. That was his manager, Eddie Futch, who prevented him from doing that, and that was the right decision. That was that's where they both spent time in the hospital after the fight, and all I said it was the closest to death he'd ever been.
Yeah.
It was at the time, I don't think it probably, there have been a lot of great heavyweight title fights since then, but that was certainly considered at the time maybe the greatest heavyweight title fight of all time.
Nanny's on with Barrero later, talk about a bunch of stuff, including Kaprizov, et cetera, but he talked about a story. He was working for ESPN. He worked for everybody back in the day, and he had an opportunity. All of a sudden, he found himself in the dressing room with Angelo Dundee and Muhammad Ali, and he got to do an interview with him. And it was like, I've never heard this story before. What? I mean, just being in the, I know you were in the same.
I've met Ali, yeah.
I know, I have too. I was in the elevator with him, giving him an escort up to the WCCO studios, but I didn't spend time with him. I was too intimidated to even say hi to him.
Why'd you think he was going to punch you?
No, I just was I was like 19 years old. And I was just, he just stood. I
thought you were intimidated because he thought he was going to square off with you.
No, he was just stoically standing in our elevator, and I was like, I wouldn't say anything to him. I just brought him up to the studio as Hal Scott interviewed him. But anyway, Louis had a great story about Ali and Angelo Dundee.
Let me guess, they'll talk about the Pavic a little bit too.
It was a big night last night.
No, Barrero and Louis, I suppose, will talk about the Pavic that they're both in. They'll spend time.
Barrero he did a lot of the intro video for it last night. Yeah, I'm sure you're excited about it. Well, the nominations begin on November the 1st for a closed circuit to Greg Swedberg.
I'm the black sheep. They don't want me there. I don't conform to what they want.
Let's just say I had a chat with a few of the people and the dignitaries last night about that. I don't know if it's
to make sure he doesn't get in.
Shh, quiet. Not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. All right, we'll do Spread Spring tomorrow.
Yes, let's do that. We'll be back. You'll be here at 1:30. Deuce will join us as well. Teneby will be back at 12 noon tomorrow. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today, but stick around. Coming up next, it's Big Ticket JG right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota. Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.